It's like it's kind of cloudy today. As much as possible. All right, Shalom. All right, Brakte Yahweh, Brakte Oshai. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harakakodash. Shalom wa Barakim. La Bakayarim Yasha'Allah. Wa Sheni Kabad, Gawala Wakab, Zakonianawa, Waha Shalayakim Nawa Yasha'Allah. Ba'aith. All right, what I just said in the Hebrew, being a Hebrew Israelite, of course, was all praise to the Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, all right? And his son's name is Yahweh Shai. I also said peace and blessings be to the elect of Israel, and double honors to our elders and apostles of Israel in these times, known as Great Millstone. All right, so this video is entitled Strangers in the Passover. As you know, our new year has started in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from last week, all right, the 14th that evening, which is the 15th day, will begin the celebration or commemorating the Passover. All right, now I'm just going to get some scriptures, and I want to talk about those strangers in Exodus, the 12th chapter, that were at the Passover. All right, just like a quick understanding on it, so there's no confusion out there. All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. It says, "Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?" So a leavening agent makes bread rise. All right, that's why the feast is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because in ancient times we didn't have enough time to allow the dough to rise. All right, so we just had the cake, we had the hard shells. All right, the unleavened. Now Paul is saying through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that know ye not that a little leaven the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, all right, or the high holy day, not with old leaven, neither with leaven of malice or wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. And that's why I'm doing this, for sincerity and truth. So our custom, as anybody who's in the spirit, when the Passover comes around, you want to start critiquing yourself, or you want to start examining yourself, seeing what things within you can work on. All right. Now, if you're a leader of a camp or a body of men, you examine yourself in the camp to see what things can be fine-tuned, what things need to get in order going into this high holy day, because we want to celebrate this in sincerity and truth, and any leaven that's within us, it should be casted out. Now, again, it said, but with unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. Now, some of the leaven that is out there with some of these groups, like FOPI, for instance, I'll just use them as an example, for our people's entertainment Israelites. When you go to them, they say that they're going to have a Negro-only Passover. First of all, Negroes are scriptures. There are no Negro sons of Israel. All right, so for you to say you're going to have a Negro Passover, that's old leaven, thinking that all the tribes are dark skinned, all right, or have to look like Negroes. All right, that makes absolutely no sense. All right, so you can have a Negro Passover. All right, and then you got ISUPK and ISUIC. They're making merchandise. They're making merchandise of the Passover. All right, and this is also going to play into the strangers of the Passover, because I did a video a long time ago where a Judite woman from Cameroon came up to ISUPK camp here in DC, claiming that we are the same people, and they were calling her a Hamite. But clearly she had the spirit of a Judite woman on her. She was an Israelite foreigner, and they acted like she was a natural born heathen. All right, so this is all leaven that has to be purged out. All right, and so I'm just going to get the scriptures to purge out that leaven, in case some of the hopeful elect out there are a little confused about the strangers at the Passover. So this is Exodus, and I'm also going to get Isaiah as well. 56, Abaratazah. This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse, I'm going to start at 43. It's now, in order to get this, you're going to have to follow along a little bit in the Hebrew. You know what I mean? You're going to have to take notes at what verse I'm at and what I'm talking about, to go back into the scroll on Blue Letter or whatever venue you have to look up the Hebrew to see what I'm saying is true. All right, and you have to have the spirit of faith of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to receive this. Now, this is Exodus or Shemwanath, if I'm not mistaken, in the Hebrew. Yeah, Shemwanath, which means names. Exodus chapter 12, verse 43. It says, "And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof." Now, when you look up the word stranger right there in Exodus 12 and 43, it's going to say Nakar, all right, Nakar, which is a natural born heathen. All right, Nakar, whenever you see Nakar, it's almost exclusively only used when it's talking about heathen. However, and remember in Sirach, it says, "Forgive us if we fall short of some things," because the one instance when you are going to see Nakar is in Isaiah 56. All right, now I'm going to read the exact verse, but I need to read more of it so that we can get some understanding out of it. I'm going to be jumping back and forth from Isaiah 56 and Exodus. So this is Isaiah 56 and verse 6. It says, "Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, to be his servants, eat everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant." So here it's talking about strangers taking hold of the Lord's covenant and calling upon his name. And this word stranger here says Nakar, although it's talking about Israelite foreigners. All right, even though it's talking about Israelite foreigners, because when you read Isaiah the 56th chapter, which I'm going to come back to it, it's talking only to Israel. It never switched. This is what they call a clerical error, if you will. Again, that's why the translator said, "Excuse us if we come short of a few things." And these are just some of the spiritual things to be looked at. All right. Now, this is Isaiah 56 and 1. This is 56 and 3. It says, "Neither let the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, The Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree." So, when you look up stranger in Isaiah 56 and 3, you're going to see the Hebrew word nakar. All right, you're going to see the Hebrew word nakar. And in Isaiah 56, really is only the only place where you're going to see nakar, and it's talking about Israelite foreigners. Now, nakar is there, but it's supposed to be gar, all right, which means Israelite foreigner. Now, let's go back, and I'm going to go back to that actually. So I'm going to hold that with a finger here. This is Exodus 12 and 43. It says, "And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover, or the Passach. There shall no stranger eat thereof." Now, in this case, this nakar is the actual heathen. All right, verse 44. "But every man's servant that is bought for money, whether thou hast circumcised, but every man that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof." So look, in verse 44, it's talking about when you have a servant that you've bought, right? And you circumcise him, he can eat. And then in the next verse, it's saying no hired servant shall eat. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. Now, when you look up foreigner in verse 45, you're going to see the Hebrew word thawashab. All right, you're going to see the Hebrew word thawashab, and this is an actual heathen. So just to review, in verse 43, that stranger is a heathen. All right, and in verse 45, that foreigner is a heathen. All right, now let's continue on. Verse 46, "In one house it shall be eaten, thou shalt not carry forth aught out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof." That's right. During the feast, when we eat, we don't carry food out of the temple or the service. You know, you eat all your food in there, and you don't take no food. All the food gets thrown away. All right, or if it doesn't get eaten up, it's got to go. All right, it doesn't leave the house, like the scripture says here. Verse 47: "All the congregation of Israel, Yasha Allah, shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land. for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. Now, this stranger, all right, this stranger in verse 48 is an Israelite. When you read this in the Hebrew, you're going to see Yagawar, which means shall sojourn. And then when you look up stranger, it's going to say Gar. You're going to see Yagawar and you're going to see Gar. Why? Because those are Israelite foreigners. All right. Don't we read? Now remember in Corinthians it says Yahweh Shai is our Passover. All right. Now why is that? It's because of what Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians. Now this wasn't on the list, but the Spirit is saying I need to get this. All right, just to get a little bit more. This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. Now when you look up that word Gentiles, it says ethnos, meaning you belong to a certain tribe of people. It doesn't just mean that one big ass tribe on earth. Again, Paul is writing to Israelites that were living in Ephesus. He wrote to a specific church and specific people. These are the same strangers that the law for the Pesach has included for the High Holy Day. All right, and I'm gonna keep going. It says, in time past, Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Verse 12, that at that time ye were without Yahweh Shai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Now, when you look up that word aliens, I believe in the New Testament Hebrew, it's going to Zarian, all right, which means actual heathen, but that's not the case. The reason why it's saying that is because the Israelites who were living in Jerusalem, when other Israelites would come from out of town, they would call them uncircumcised. All right, they would call them Israelite foreigners. That's why you have certain Israelites that don't believe that the so-called Latinos and Native Americans are from the Northern Kingdom. But that's not true. That's what Yahweh Shah's blood was for. Let me read this again. Sacrifice was for. Ephesians 2 and 12. It says that at that time ye were without Yahweh Shah, who is our Passover, by the way. All right, in sincerity and truth, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenant and promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. But now in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Yahweh Shah. So again, because if you lived in Israel, you had certain rights to your inheritance. You know what I'm saying? Every tribe received a certain lot. You know what I mean? So there's certain rights that you had if you lived within the commonwealth. You know, but because we got scattered abroad, the Israelite foreigners that were coming back from Ephesus, when you read Acts the 2nd chapter, it gives you a list of all the nations that came back, where the Jews came from. The Jews, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, came from to travel into Jerusalem. And then you had Israelites saying, no, you're strangers, you're foreigners. You're not allowed in here. But Paul was telling them, no, the Pesach, the rights, the covenants, the promises. Look, I didn't know about I knew about Easter in the world, but I didn't know about the Passover until what? We find out the truth. That's Yahweh Shah's, the blood of Yahweh Shah, the mercy that Yahweh left for us being placed upon us. Now, when we go back to Exodus 12 and verse 48, I'm going to read this again. It says, and when the stranger, which is Gar, Israelite foreigner, sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that was born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. Verse 49, one law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you, which is the same person. These two people, all right, the one that's homeborn and the stranger that sojourneth among us, those are both Israelites. So again, just to recap, verse 43, that stranger is a heathen. Verse 45, that foreigner is a heathen. In verse 43, the Hebrew word is nakar, and verse 44, the Hebrew word is tawashab. All right, and verse 48, those are Israelites. In verse 49, these are Israelites. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. So again, when you follow along, you go into the blue letter and you look it up in Exodus 12 and 49. In the Hebrew there, some of it is going to say Walagar Hagar, which is Walagar and to the Israelite foreigner or stranger, Hagar that sojourneth. So the way that you say sojourn and the Hebrew is gawar, which goes back to the root word gar, meaning Israelite foreigner, somebody who's just dwelling there for a time being, but that you're your own people. It's just like you have family members that you've never seen before, but they're clearly your family members, and they show up for the family reunion. But what do? You check their lineage. You see, does this, and that line up according to the ancestry? And that's what we're doing through the power and the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai. That's why it says you try the spirits by the spirit. You know, yeah, are we not all sons according to? Are we not all joint heirs according to the spirit? All right, Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. So those strangers at the Passover, now we have a quick understanding of that. All right, those strangers were actually Israelite foreigners. That's us. You know what I'm saying? That's us before we found out the truth of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know. So I'm not done. I am not done. Yeshaya, Isaiah 56, Salakia. I can't forget this. I want to read this because that Hebrew word nakar. Because a lot of people say, well, what about the stranger in Isaiah 56? All right. Well, let's start at verse 1. All right. And then I'll wrap up. This is Isaiah or Yeshaya 56 and verse 1. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, keep ye judgment and do justice." Now, the correct judgment and justice right now is through Yahweh Shai, because he committed all judgment unto his son. In order for us to judge properly, we have to follow that spirit. All right. It says and we don't judge according to appearance, we judge according to the spirit. You have a lot of Israelites that judge according to the appearance, how somebody looks. That's not what this is about. All right. That's not what Exodus 12 is about. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger, again, it says Nakar, but it should be Gar there, that hath joined himself to the Lord, speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Right, that's why it says Nakar. To himself, he's saying, the Lord separated me, I'm not Israelite anymore. That's not the case. All right, it says, neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths and choose the things that please me and take hold of my covenant, even unto them, and their only eunuchs can be Israelites. All right, this is strictly to Israel. All right, this is verse 5, Isaiah or Yeshaya 56 and 5. Even unto them will I give in mine house and with my walls a place and a name better than the sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name, and they shall not be cut off. This is talking about those same strangers, by the way. All right, the same strangers that we read in Exodus 12 that are part of the Pesach. These are the same strangers, the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, ultimately. Now, verse 6, it says, and the sons of the stranger that join, and this is Nakar here in the Hebrew, which is just like alien, all right, in Ephesians. And the sons of strangers that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, to be his servants, every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant. Look, a heathen is not going to take hold of the covenants. Where do you see any of these heathen nations celebrating anything similar to the Passover ever? Never. All right, it's only here. It's Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans going dumb hard for Easter, and that's not even the correct day to be keeping. That goes to the Queen of Heaven and fertility goddess, man, that they were worshiping back in the ancient times. That's why our people are strangers. The Lord's looking at them like, what are y'all doing? I'm not listening to y'all. All right, but you're going to have some strangers that come back and have faith, and that's what this is all about. All right, now this is verse 7. Even then will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. The Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, will gather the outcast of Israel. Saith, yet will I gather others to him besides those that are gathered unto him. And that's the Lord talking about the Israelite foreigners. Here it is, he's talking about strangers in this chapter the whole time. And then he's talking about gathering the outcasts of Israel. It's the same people. All right, it's the same people. You know what I'm saying? So just to recap, and then I'll finish up with all praises, like we do. This is Exodus or Shamwana in 12 and 43. That stranger is a heathen. And verse 45, that foreigner, that Thawashab, is a heathen. And verse 48, that stranger and sojourner is an Israelite. And verse 49, one law shall be to him that is a homeborn, and unto the stranger that is sojourn among you. Even though there's a separation there in verse 49, those are Israelites. All right. So you can pause it. Hey, look, man, the reason why I know this is sometimes you forget. Well, guess what? You won't forget when you get asked a question. If you got it written in your sword, you dig? That's how we get down, man. The king didn't allow margins to get put into our swords just to take up space. Writing them things, you know what I mean? This is your sword. Sharpen your sword, you know. So when you pull it out the sheath, it's going to do what it needs to do, which is edify and condemn everybody else. And that's what this is all about. Because really, this video was only for the elect, you know, those who might not know who those strangers were at the Passover. All right, and because you gotta, and you're not gonna see a Great Millstone broadcasting our Passover and making marketing ads and merchandise and freaking commercials. All right, you'll get a you'll get a live lesson. You'll get edified, and then we're gonna keep the service in humility like it's supposed to be. It's a solemn assembly through the power and spirit of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. So with that, all praise unto our power. Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, call Halayim La Alahayanawa, Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, Bahashim Hawakakudash. I'll say Shalom Barakim, which means peace and blessings. La Bakayarim Yasha Allah to all the elect families out there. Masha Pakatia Bakayarim, the elect families that will be keeping the Passover this year to the best of your ability, of course, in sincerity and truth, like I said in 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, about Yahweh being our Passover. So continue to purge out the leaven, you know, fast and pray, examine yourselves, because this is a very serious season. And of course, double honors to our elders and apostles whom we learn this truth from. They're known as Great Millstone in these times, coming back in the reincarnation. Now, in the Hebrew, that would be Gawala, meaning great, and Rakab, meaning stones. Shen Kabad, which means double honors, Lakam to you all. And again, Barak Tayahal Shalom.